into Bible study amidst these trying times. Entering the bustling hospital corridors, her mind teetered on the edge of uncertainty, weighed down by the gravity of her deteriorating health. Despite yielding to gentler remedies, her ailment's obstinate persistence nudged her physician to advocate surgery as the ultimate recourse. Faced with this daunting prospect, she sought solace within the cocoon of her familial ties, mustering the courage to embark on an odyssey that would put her mettle to the test, unveiling the might of unwavering faith and resolute determination amid adversity's crushing weight. The scheduled day arrived, draped in a sterile ambience of the operating theatre. As the anesthesia's whispered embrace enveloped her, consciousness staggered, wading through a nebulous haze. A disconcerting dissonance permeated her senses, as erratic heartbeats orchestrated an unsettling rhythm, echoing the precariousness of life's delicate thread. Each breath metamorphosed into an arduous task, while the futile attempt to pry open her eyelids yielded no respite. Ensnared within the throes of an agonizing physical tumult, she yearned for the swift intercession of the adept surgeon. A sudden lull descended, shrouding her torment in an eerie calm. When her eyes fluttered open, a surreal vantage awaited, a vantage perched atop the room's ceiling, privy to the doctor's hushed directives below. Unperturbed, she phased through solid barriers, navigating the hospital's labyrinthine corridors. Traversing the meandering paths, she chanced upon a figure cloaked in ebony, hastening towards the operating theatre in earnest discourse with a colleague. Propelled by an otherworldly force, her ascent transcended the hospital's confines, soaring into the boundless expanse beyond. Inexorably drawn, she ascended, traversing the urban sprawl without a whisper of disturbance in the tranquil air. Venturing into a cavernous enclave, an incandescent glow beckoned, cradling within its embrace a figure robed in resplendent white, his countenance a wellspring of warmth and affability. A gesture of invitation, accompanied by an effulgent smile, extended an irresistible welcome. Approaching him, an ineffable sense of serenity and jubilation enveloped her, forging an inexplicable intimacy. Enfolded within his benevolence, she underwent a poignant review of her life's tapestry. Amidst the cascade of memories, a radiant moment from her collegiate chronicles emerged, a stint spent selflessly volunteering for a noble cause. Consoling the elderly and nurturing the young within a nearby community formed a tapestry of joy, etching a profound lesson on the sanctity of altruism. However, amidst these gleaming recollections lay a somber incident, a shadowed corner of regret. A lapse in judgment during her academic tenure, succumbing to the allure of deception to secure an undeserved accolade. The weight of guilt and contrition burgeoned, casting a pall over her conscience, a remorseful acknowledgement of betraying not just her mentors, but her own ethical compass. Reflecting on her misstep, she was confronted by the serene countenance of Jesus, devoid of condemnation, embracing her with unwavering forgiveness and tender understanding. In the wake of this revelation, a flurry of emotions enveloped her, an amalgam of apprehension and a profound yearning to decipher his unspoken thoughts. An interlude of profound silence ensued, punctuated by an unexpected query from Jesus, an invitation, a simple yet compelling offer to spend time together. Overwhelmed and elated, her response was a resolute certainly. Ascending together, they ascended a celestial stairway, unveiling an ethereal vista, a tapestry of verdant meadows, bedecked with nameless blooms, and a tranquil river's gentle caress. At the river's edge, she saw her deceased family on the other bank, a touching reunion with her father and grandfather. Unrecognizable to her, her great-grandfather had died before her birth. Telepathy allowed them to communicate silently. Despite her desire to embrace them, Jesus guided her along the river. Further downstream, a white Greek-style building with grand staircases and columns appeared. Many people in bright white robes filled this ethereal scene. Jesus guided her into this grand structure, revealing the library of heaven, a massive library. In these hallowed halls were all worldly knowledge texts. Picking a random book from the shelves sent an electric shiver through its pages, but the text was in an unfamiliar language. Jesus explained to her that these volumes contained diverse knowledge, some beyond her grasp, an enlightenment retreat. While browsing the shelves, she found a collection of musical notes spanning Earth's melodies from classical to contemporary. Each piece had intricate scores. Jesus said this sanctuary was for instruction and to unlock her potential and complete her. Jesus handed her a book as he approached another shelf. She discovered a detailed account of her life from childhood to the present. His loving gaze embraced every moment, happy or hard. After this profound connection, Jesus gave her a choice: to continue her terrestrial journey or stay with him. Jesus' magnetic pull drew her to him. His love and comfort surpassed anything she had felt before. When she asked if she could see her family right away, her vision switched to a hospital scene with her mother and a doctor talking unheard. The loving prayers of family and friends became poignant notes that reached out to her. Memories of her mother's struggles and her father's early departure during her youth came back, acknowledging her mother's struggles without her. Despite her ineffable love, she realized she had to return. Jesus explained that her return to earth would erase most of this celestial experience. His smile confirmed her return and trust in Jesus. His gentle touch and assurance in her tousled hair reassured her against trepidation, promising constant guidance and protection. Her consciousness gradually returned as her essence merged with her body. A vigilant doctor watched as her eyelids slowly opened to reveal a hospital chamber. Her unwavering faith in Jesus' vigil and goodness energized her with each breath. Due to her earthly mission, her recovery seemed predestined. 12 post-surgery days, a stint in the intensive care unit, and a move to the general ward were filled with Jesus' benevolence, which gave her strength. She decided to tell her mother about her extraordinary trip after returning home. She described her ethereal departure from her corporeal form during surgery, the enigmatic ebony-clad doctor she saw in the hospital's corridors, and her lucid celestial experiences. When she described her great-grandfather's towering body, snow-white facial hair, and beauty mark beneath his right eye, her mother's skepticism and cautious reserve changed. Curiosity drove her mother to verify her daughter's stories. To her surprise, the family's ancestral homestead didn't resemble her great-grandfather, whom she had never seen. The intricate details her daughter provided, matching her great-grandfather's exact depiction, eliminated any skepticism and solidified her belief in Jesus' celestial meeting. Hey everyone. He had this thing about avoiding follow-ups, you know. Like, he'd steer clear of any post-engagement contacts. The story he's about to spill, it's deeply etched in his memory, and trust me, it's nothing short of scary. He's kinda nervous about revisiting it, but there's this unstoppable urge for honesty. You know how it is, sometimes words can't quite capture everything, but he's got to try. Let's rewind to that specific date, July 15, 2013. Around 7:45 in the morning, he was doing his usual commute to work. Now, the route he took passed through this notorious intersection, infamous for being super dangerous with a long history of accidents. It was no ordinary crossing, I tell you. This place had this weird knack for blocking visibility, especially for anyone trying to make a left turn. He was in a rush, running late, and the pressure was heavy on him. There was this important meeting planned out meticulously, and he couldn't afford to mess it up. Since that ominous day, they've made quite some progress in upgrading the traffic signal system at that very intersection. In the midst of an expedited odyssey, he discovered himself situated at the very heart of a perilous crossroads, teetering on the brink of a decision laden with ambiguity. His fixation rested on executing a leftward maneuver, yet a fleeting glance toward the right offered a glimpse of an unobstructed path. As he initiated the turn, a subsequent glance revealed an oncoming force hurtling at a velocity defying rationality, likely surpassing the formidable 90-mile-per-hour threshold. The inexorable collision loomed ahead, and within the blink of an eye, their gazes locked in a shared acknowledgement of the impending catastrophe. Articulating the ensuing events proves to be an onerous endeavour, as language, however meticulously selected, barely captures a fragment, merely approximating a paltry 1% of the encounter, and even that inadequately. On the opposing side of the thoroughfare, facing the front of his vehicle, sprawled an expansive field. Within its confines, an immense entity came into his awareness, moving diagonally toward his car. Time, if it adhered to any discernible trajectory, followed an unorthodox course. He possessed the capacity to witness this temporal aberration, yet expounding upon its intricacies posed a formidable challenge. At its initial sighting, the object loomed as colossal as a 10-story edifice, a few hundred yards distant. However, the initial impressions of size and distance swiftly dissolved into inconsequential abstractions, a facet he would imminently elucidate. Approaching closer, the object morphed into a colossal water wheel lying horizontally, engaged in a methodical revolution. As proximity increased, the initial estimation of its size proved grossly misleading, transcending conventional dimensions and spatial metrics, morphing into a microcosm of a miniature city. Amid this experience, customary gauges of size and distance relinquished their relevance, surpassing the confines of conventional comprehension. Continuing its approach, an extraordinary sensation enshrouded him, proffering immediate comprehension of its essence, purpose, storied history, and the rationale behind his extraordinary encounter. He also comprehended the predestined nature of this rendezvous before his inception and its inexorable occurrence in the throes of mortality, knowledge inherent in every soul, concealed throughout existence, but revealed in this ephemeral sojourn toward the precipice of a fatal collision. Recalling fragments, he recounted, mindful of the inherent limitations of language in conveying the profundity of the experience. The colossal wheel was not merely an entity traversing existence, it epitomized existence itself, encompassing every conceivable prospect of life or universe. Its proximity delineated our world as a mere fraction of this expansive construct, an undeniable verity unveiled at that pivotal juncture. However, the truly chilling aspect defied verbal encapsulation, evading the conveyance of the fear he underwent. The wheel, in its ceaseless rotation, appeared to traverse above the very spot where his car had occupied on the roadway. It was in this traversal that he encountered each of the wheel's paddles, a term endeavouring to articulate the profound nature of the encounter, yet only partially revealing its profundity. The picturesque imagery of the cascading film of water on each paddle resembles a lateral waterfall, a portrayal of the manifold possible realities or universes. Within this vast expanse, our familiar world seems but an insignificant fragment, a tiny speck lost amidst an infinite expanse. His realization struck him instantly and resolutely. The sheer magnitude of numbers was infinite, a profound certainty devoid of any shadow of doubt. Yet, as this realization dawned upon him, an accompanying fear rose within. He came to acknowledge the resemblance of this process to the human conception of reincarnation, intensifying his trepidation amid this metaphysical journey through a vortex. The incident on the highway became the juncture that propelled him to traverse the boundaries between the paddles, a realm where the wheel of existence undertook the intricate task of reordering reality. His transition instilled in him a sense of fear, and his resistance to being sorted only served to fuel the wheel's determination, intensifying its efforts. However, amidst the folds of fear emerged another realization that magnified his terror. Unless a particular reality was actively chosen, the wheel would make that decision on his behalf. The impending inevitability of being sorted proved impossible to evade. His feeble capacity to choose offered little solace. Each reality collided with him before he could even begin to comprehend it. Undergoing a continuous rebirth with each impact, he traversed from one slot to the next, erasing the notion of a lasting self. The very concept of a continuous self faced a profound challenge, as much of what he encountered within the diverse universes within the wheel had either slipped from his recollection or perhaps been intentionally suppressed. At the commencement of this journey, alternate realities bore a resemblance to our own, a realm tinged with familiarity. Fragmented memories involving diverse scenarios of the accident remained, akin to neighbouring paddles on the wheel. In one scenario, his vehicle seemed flung off the road, its form twisted as if folded in the middle, while myriad other scenarios dissolved into the recesses of his memory. The crux of his experience centered on the exploration of various plausible outcomes for the accident, akin to a bewildering dance through a tapestry of hypothetical situations. This odyssey defied the conventions of traditional near-death experiences, devoid of any tunnel or radiant light. Instead, he speculated that these symbols manifested as one entered or departed the wheel's grasp. An afterlife, a spirit realm, or an existence beyond death's threshold never greeted him. They appeared to exist on the periphery of the wheel or were intrinsically linked to the wheel itself, a reservoir of unformed potentials, unfulfilled and unrealized. Profound knowledge coursed through his consciousness during this event, knowledge that had subsequently slipped through the sieve of his memory. His panic heightened as he navigated these alternative slots within the wheel. Each transition ushered in a new me, carrying the memories and presumptions of the corresponding world, while the recollection of the preceding self evaporated. The highway scenario and his former identity remained elusive, deepening his distress. In a slow unfolding, the array of potentialities gradually shrank, beckoning forth the spectre of accident-induced scenarios once more. Yet, within this conundrum, a stark truth dawned. The embrace of any of these potential pathways merely offered a transient respite before an inescapable return to the cyclical routine. The unnerving certainty of this outcome loomed, yet the cycle persisted, indifferent to the ebb and flow of time it held within its grasp. The cryptic culmination of this phase heralded a re-entry onto the expressway, a stone's throw from the juncture. This fragment lingered, a puzzle unsolved, the pivotal decision steering him towards a realm where the collision hovered on the brink of existence, the visage of the opposing driver etched indelibly into his consciousness. Yet, at that crucial crossroads, as he engaged the brakes, the counterpart and their vehicle dissolved into the nebulous unknown, leaving behind a